Today is Earth Day. The city of Green Bay decided to celebrate by launching a new program that prioritizes healthy ecosystems.
And it is called Neighbors for Nature. It encourages everybody to create natural habitats in their own yards using native plants. Taylor Siebel explaining how the initiative can help our communities.
Inside the greenhouse at Stone Silo Prairie Gardens, you'll find a variety of native plants. It's a similar scene at the Green Bay Botanical Garden and Green Bay Conservation Corps, helping support Neighbors for Nature.
In early spring, pollinators are hungry and there aren't very many food sources. So native plants, particularly flowering native plants, provide early year food for pollinators and promote the entire pollinator ecosystem.
Food production and local ecosystems aren't the only benefits.
Part of the native plantings contribute to increased flooding resilience by slowing runoff. So more plants take up more water and have less water to run off into storm sewers.
Neighbors of Nature is replacing No Mow May and continues the conversation about how you can support pollinators and water quality in your own yard.
Earlier this month, 300 Green Bay residents won free native plant kits. Each kit includes 15 plants, basic care instructions, and a yard sign. A total of 600 residents applied.
I was personally surprised. I don't know if others were as surprised, but we were really pleased with the reception. And it was with limited promotion, frankly, partly because there was so much interest right away.
Those winners can pick up their kits at Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary in May. And if you didn't apply in time or still want to contribute, you can find more information on WBAY.com. Reporting in Green Bay, Taylor Siebel, Action 2 News.